world you're seeing my video from, you're welcome to Enuani Cultural Forum, where we promote the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. And today we are looking at this very famous mask called Ozomi Yaba, and a more famous mask called Queen Idia's mask or Iyoba mask. Iyoba is a Yoruba exclamation for the word Queen Mother. Iyoba, mother of Oba. Iyoba. Iyoba means mother of the Oba. So Iyoba's mask is the name given to Queen Idia's mask. Queen Idia's mask in this instance is the mask, the ivory mask that the British plundered and stole, deposited at the British Museum. But this video is to expose to you that it wasn't just Benin that had artifacts. Other communities around Benin had artifacts. I am from Obunuku Kingdom, and we had artifacts older than 16th century because Queen Idia's mask is dated 16th century. All right. Now another mask that belongs to Iseluku Kingdom was given to them by Benin Kingdom. In fact, Esige himself gave the mask to Obioribo of Iseluku. Esige gave the mask to Obioribo of Iseluku in 16th century. And that particular mask is called Esige's mask. So Iseluku has a mask, but a 16th century mask. Benin have masks, bronze masks, and ivory mask. Queen Idia's mask is an ivory mask, but it is 16th century. On the other hand, the mask that belongs to Obunuku, not one, many. Obunuku has masks like Ozomi Yaba, Iwawe. But the thing is this, Obunuku masks are deities, not just a mask. They are not for decoration. They are deities, or protected at least by more than 5 deities. So this particular mask of Obunuku called Ozomi Yaba was not stolen by the British. Remember, Obunuku is the head of Ekumeku resistance. So when there was a Ekumeku resistance, which is the anti-colonial resistance struggle, the longest lasting anti-colonial resistance struggle in the history of mankind, Ekumeku resistance was led by Obunuku, where this artifact is domiciled. But it was not stolen. Probably was never even discovered. Okay? So, fast forward to years after Queen Idia's mask has been stolen and deposited at the British Museum, Nigeria planned a cultural festival, and they started building a film village in Lagos. The place you now call Festac in Lagos was built immediately after the Nigerian genocidal war. I don't like calling it civil war, but I've read so many books where it is called civil war that if I'm going to talk, it will enter my mouth civil. There's nothing civil about that war. It was a genocidal war tailored to wipe out Igbo from the surface of the earth. So in 1967, between 1967 and 1970, there was a genocidal war against Igbo. So many people, international organizations that supported Nigeria contributed to their war funds. So in 1970, when they were declared that no victor, no vanquished, it was expected that monies raised will be used either in rehabilitation or in rebuilding of an Igbo that was desolate. Videos from 1967 and 1970 shows how damaged, how destroyed, how empty places like Onitsha, Owerri, Aba, Enugu, all these places were burnt down. Port Harcourt, Asaba, all these places were burnt down to the ground. People were buried and their corpses littered the streets. So when money was brought for this rehabilitation and rebuilding of an Igbo, Nigeria's government decided to use it to build a village called Festac, and Gowon started building Festac. But when Gowon was dethroned, Obasanjo continued building Festac. So when he finished building Festac, they were planning to host a cultural festival that they believe will hold people together. It will bring people together. It will bring the Benis, the Yorubas, the Hausas together. So they started gathering artifacts, and they thought in their mind which artifact will be the best to showcase Nigeria as a place that is culturally grounded. They thought about Queen Idia's mask, and Nigeria started writing to Britain to release Queen Idia's mask to us, something that was stolen, that they wished to use it as a cultural icon for Festac 77. Britain refused. So, being stranded, the president of Nigeria heard that there are more masks in the area where this Queen Idia's mask was taken from. And of course, it was right. That was how Ozome Yoba and Esige's mask was accompanied from Ubuluku and Iseluku respectively by Obichukwu Yem Edward Ofulwe, the second of Ubuluku Kingdom, and Obi Osemene of Iseluku to Lagos to present these two masks to President Olusegun Obasanjo, who was General Obasanjo then. The masks were presented to Obasanjo, but they were not used. Two reasons are possible. There are masks from an Igbo land, an Igbo community. Iseluku is considered and gazetted as an Igbo community, no matter how many times they deny their identity today. The Nigerian Gazette, legal documents in Delta State and everything describes them as an Igbo community. So whatever artifacts that come from there is an Igbo artifact. Whatever one comes from Ubuluku is an Igbo artifact. So these two artifacts were ignored. They were not used for Festac 77. Rather, to let you know how well these two places were ignored, they molded a replica of Queen Idia's mask and made use of for Festac 77. But this exposure has told the world that there are two more masks in this area. So they came for our masks. And as I speak with you, Queen Idia's mask has been repatriated to Benin. But Ozome Yoba, which is an older mask, and the Esige's mask, which is a 16th century mask, have been stolen. They are no longer in existence. They are no longer domiciled in those communities that own them. Here is a fair comparison between the two. Ozome Yoba mask is a Benin ivory mask. Ozome Yoba is an Ubuluku bronze mask. Queen Iyoba, that is Iyoba's mask, is a Benin ivory mask. Ivory mask, a female, Queen Idia, mother of Oba Esige. Iyoba, Inyaba in Ubuluku. Ozome Yaba is a younger brother of a king. The word Ozoma is an immediate younger brother of a king. Is a title that solely belongs to an immediate younger brother of a king. So Inyaba is a male bronze mask. Iyoba is a female ivory mask. One belongs to Benin Kingdom, the other one belongs to Ubuluku Kingdom. Esige's mask belongs to Iseluku Kingdom as well. These are three bronze masks of almost the same build but different epochs. The one from Ubuluku Kingdom is at least 400 years older than the masks from Benin. And somebody asked me very intelligent questions. A lot of people ask me intelligent questions online. People who are not trolls. The ones who are trolls said it is a Benin mask. Of course, you know it is a public space. If you have misinformation or something that is not proven, you can't bring it to the public. I have people from my community who are older than me who are reading the posts, who are watching the videos that I make as well. If there are places where I've heard, they will call me out. I'm from Ubuluku Kingdom. We are the owners of Ozoma Inyaba mask, a male bronze mask of 12th century that was once presented as an icon for Festac 77, but was not used. It belongs to the people of Ubuluku Kingdom. It is beyond a mask. It is a deity. There are other smaller masks, but as you know, there are also other smaller masks in Benin. But the Idia's mask is the one that is very prominent, probably because of its appeal or the way the people who stole it presented it. So there are other masks in other areas that are older than whatever you found in Benin. This is also to buttress the point that Benin Kingdom, as it was then, some say Benin Empire. Yes, I agree. If you say empire, if you say kingdom too, I agree. Empire was when Portuguese came with ammunitions, armed these people to conquer territories. But to let you know that these territories that were conquered are Igbo territories, they still speak till today Igbo language. They still practice till today Igbo culture. In places that use Ada and Eben as a symbol of leadership, they have Ofo as a superior symbol of leadership. There's no king in the whole of Anyoma that doesn't use Ofo. Not one king, not one king, not one, not even Abo, not even Ibanke, those who are very close to Benin Kingdom. All of them make use of Ofo as their symbol of traditional leadership and authority. All of them still practice the system of leadership called gerontocracy by seniority, where the oldest male in the lineage becomes the leader. This is Igbo traditional leadership system practiced in all of Western Igbo communities. What about the metal workers? Because somebody asked me who makes the metal. The metal workers cult in my community is something you don't just choose to become a part of. You are born into. All the you become a member when you have been chosen. So they have a group of metal workers even until this day. They call them Ndi Akpo or Ndi Efie Ozo, metal workers. They extract metals and make farm implements with it, agricultural tools with it, kitchen utensils with it, pots and all that, and even weapons. In the class of war chiefs, they are in the upper unknown, those who make weapons. So we have metal workers, ancient traditional metal workers. They are not just in Ubuluku. They are in Ibuzo, a place called Oboli. They are in Ogwashi, a place called Idubonicha. They are in Ubuluku, scattered everywhere in Ubuluku. In Ubuluku, they are in Obibo. They are in Obego, a place called Idumomo, where they have their Ibigu, their deity for making metals. They are in Idumilo, in a place called Onichuku in Ubuluku. They are in Isiori, in a place called Ishokotas. And they are in Ubulokiti. One thing is remarkable. They all are under the same Ofo because they have the same ancestry of Ikem and Okbozo, who all agree, whose descendants agree they migrated from Uri, ancient kingdom. And they are metal workers. They also have totems. So what we are doing here is comparing these two artifacts of Ubuluku origin and the one from Benin Kingdom. Look at the artifacts on display. Look at the artifacts on display here. They look alike, but one is 400 years older than the other. 400. 400 years is not a small time. It's also enough time. James, my brother, good morning. So it's also enough time for the metal workers who traveled from Igbo land to Idu Igodomigodo to showcase their craft. If you doubt the presence of Igbo skillsmen, Igbo metal workers in Benin Kingdom, then please, if you're watching this video, can you explain to me why there are artifacts in Benin Kingdom that bear Igbo names? We have Okuko. Okuko as it is, a cock. The name of the artifact is Okuko. So there are artifacts made by Ndi Igbo, who are metal workers that also rank in age. Look at the artifacts discovered by Isaiah Nozie. They were not also stolen because that was post-colonial era. You know, the epochs matter. In the epoch when Queen Idia's mask was discovered, we were still under the colonial rule. But when Isaiah Nozie in the 70s discovered Ibuku arts while trying to dig a well by his backyard, we were no longer under colonial rule. So the artifacts were not stolen. Because of that, they are not as popular as Queen Idia's ivory mask. So in terms of popularity, it has to do with where is the artifact displayed. Not that they are not recognized, because all these artifacts that I have mentioned here are recognized by the National Council for Museums and Monuments. Historical Society of Nigeria acknowledges as well these artifacts, but it does not end in acknowledgement. How much visibility has been given to these artifacts? Do people even know that as beautiful as Queen Idia's masks are, they are at least 700 years younger than the artifacts discovered in Ibuku, because those ones are 9th century. All of Ibuku artifacts are 9th century artifacts. Queen Idia's mask is 16th century. These are all these things I'm saying are out there. Anthropological evidence posted online and in physical view. If you go to see Queen Idia's mask, you will see the anthropological reports beside it. The same thing with Ibuku artifacts as well. So, in comparison, ivory as a den was more valuable than bronze. But right now, bronze masks are more valuable than ivory masks, probably because of legislations and legal constraints to having an ivory. Of course, to get ivory, you have to either kill an elephant, get its tusks and all that, and the law does not support it these days. So bronze masks are more valuable to own or to sell than ivory masks. This is the reason why I believe our bronze masks were then under attack post-colonial era. The artifacts were not used for Festac 77, but after Festac 77, they are missing. The Esige's artifacts, the Esige's mask, the cultural icon of Iseluku Kingdom is gone, is missing. The cultural icon of Ubuluku Kingdom, Ozomenyaba, is also missing as well. So whoever took the one of Ubuluku also went for the one of Iseluku. But this is just a video to create an awareness that there are such artifacts coming from Igbo communities as well, made by them. Because when Isaiah Nozie discovered his artifacts as well in Ibuku, some people tried to suggest that, maybe they got it from traders. Over 1,000 artifacts were gotten from traders. And how come they were bearing symbols that are identifiable in Igbo culture? Some were carrying Ugwa. Some had Ichi marks on their faces. Things that we can see in everyday life, in Igbo man's life. So, there are artifacts that prove the antiquity of Igbo. One of which I have just described. Artifacts that prove the antiquity, the age of Igbo. And also artifacts that prove the age of our Benin neighbors. Kingdoms rise and fall. Kingdoms rise and kingdoms fall. If as at the peak of the glory of Benin Kingdom, there were other kingdoms around it that it overshadowed, does not make those smaller kingdoms subservient or of Benin origin. Most of those smaller kingdoms are older than Benin Kingdom. So, key takeaways from this video are, when somebody tells you about Benin bronzes or Benin artifacts, also be confident and comfortable enough to let them know that there are also other artifacts from other parts of Igbo land that are not just older but even more sophisticated, even if they never enjoy the type of visibility that Queen Idia's mask and all other masks from Benin Kingdom enjoy. And the visibility came from the fact that the artifacts were stolen. In 1897, during the British punitive expedition, as they called it, but it was a loot, a time to steal, was so brandished, was so well named that it looks very, very attractive. They call it punitive expedition. Who are you punishing? You are punishing people who are in their homeland by taking away their treasures, looting their treasury. Whatever you're seeing people do today was first done to us by the British. You break into a kingdom, loot their treasury, and carry it back to your own kingdom. Put some on display. That is the highest, the highest thing I've ever seen somebody do. Highest display of lack of integrity. You stole an artifact from an African community. You took it to your place, did not hide it, you put it on display for people to come and watch. You say it was given to you. So, there are artifacts of African origin, so many of them. But it is noteworthy that the oldest artifacts in sub-Saharan Africa are from Ibuku, in Igbo land. 9th century, followed by Nok art, which is not even 9th century. The Ife arts are around 13th, 14th century. Bini art is around 16th century. And then we have just established here in this video that an artifact of an Igbo community dated 12th century, roughly 900 years ago, is the oldest in Western Igbo land. When we discuss civilizations in epochs, remember, it was the Inri people that first discovered the technology of iron smelting. Of course, that is a global knowledge because the oldest iron smelting site in the world is in Leja, somewhere around Nsukka. So, when this iron smelting technology was discovered, and because there was a law, an embargo against it, that it should not be used for making weapons, our people channeled the use of metal technology into other works like farm implements, worship items, even making metal deities. And then most importantly, they started making artifacts and brass decorations for our young girls. I don't know if you've seen pictures, such old pictures of young girls wearing brass, especially when they are ready to get married. All these are ways our ancestors judiciously made use of metal instead of making weapons with it. You will never find communities that will say they were conquered by Igbo and then Igbo language was imposed on them. Some even use this and take the joke too far by saying there was never anything called Igbo language, that it was the British that taught us to use Igbo. There are communities in Igbo land that are older than Great Britain, older than the entire Europe. When we say these things with mere voice, it will sound ordinary, but you should also read up books to back up the things we are saying. Read up books like They Lived Before Adam by Catherine Acholono. She's an intellectual, and the book was not local. That book, I watched its presentation at the Harlem Book Fair in New York. That's one of the biggest book fairs in the world. When she presented the book, They Lived Before Adam, drawing comparisons and convergences between Igbo culture and cultures around the world, between Igbo language and some other languages, and then grouping the Igbo language to the Kwa soft group, to the Kwa language subgroup, and of course later the Niger Congo. So we have been able to establish the existence of prominent Igbo artifacts that are older in epoch, in age, older than the Benin ivory mask of Queen Idia and some other masks that are being repatriated year after year. I am using this opportunity to invite you to our channel to watch videos that elaborate cultural and historical events that take place in Igbo land. Look through the channel, you will find so many interesting, educative videos. Pick which one interests you and binge on it. Watch them, comment on them, drop your opinions, even suggestions. Share them to your audience. I will look forward to seeing you in subsequent videos that I post. But meanwhile, for this particular video that you're watching, you can do well to share the video to your audience. Comment on it, like it, and also support us in any way that you can. See you in our subsequent videos. Have a very pleasant Sunday. Bye.